Have you ever wanted to get into the Ivy League? Have you dreamed of the successful life you'd have if you did so? Have you watched hundreds of thousands of videos trying to find an answer to the age-old question of, how do I get in? And never found one? Well, sit back, relax, and take it all in. Because you're about to learn how to do just that here today. But before we get there, let me tell you a quick story. If you haven't watched this video right here, I highly suggest you pause here, watch that video, and come back to this video to get a full background on different types of schools and the type of students each school tends to accept. However, as a quick refresher, the different school types are Humanities Havens, schools that specialize in humanities and tend to accept students interested in those fields; Technology Towns, schools who specialize in the STEM fields and tend to accept students who are interested in STEM as well; Political Science Paradises, schools who specialize in political science and the social sciences and tend to accept students who are interested in those fields; and finally, Business Boroughs, schools who are dedicated to their business schools and accept students interested in business and the finance spaces. Similar to that, on the student side, there are 5 common student types, those being the STEM Scholar, a student whose resume is peppered and colored by their passion for and participation in the STEM fields; the Humanities Intellectual, a student whose extracurricular experience in high school is dominated by their experiences in the humanities; the Sharp Social Scientist, a student obsessed with the social sciences and spends most of their time exploring that particular passion; the Professional Polymath, a student who's interested in a number of different subjects, extracurriculars, and does them all very well; and then finally, the Athletic Academic, an athletic student whose resume is mostly composed of their athletic achievements and accomplishments. Now, Princeton is a political science paradise, so the advice given in this video will be the best advice any student should apply if they hope to get not only into Princeton, but similar schools like it as well. With all that being said, here's the strategy and advice each type of student can use to get into a school like Princeton. We're going to look at what it takes for each archetype of student to get into a school like Princeton and what they would need to do each year, starting from their freshman year, going all the way to the winter of their senior year, to have the best chance of getting in. If you'd like me to make a video diving even deeper into these subjects and the strategies for this type of student, just leave a comment below letting me know and I'll be sure to make one. Now let's move on to the Professional Polymath. Professional polymaths, unlike every other type of student, get a substantial boost irrespective of the school they apply to. In the case of Princeton, they on average get a 3.56 multiplier on their odds of making it into the school, which increases their odds from 5.5% to 19.6%, a very significant increase in terms of their odds of making it into the school. In other words, their odds jump from about a 1 in 18 chance of making it into Princeton to about a 1 in 5 chance of making it into the school. With these increased odds, though, comes a much more difficult but effective path of getting into a school like Princeton. Now let's take a look at what a person needs to do, starting from their freshman year, to be that one person out of 5 who does in fact make it into Princeton. The warm sun and gentle ocean breeze caresses your skin as you count down the final days of summer. It's the summer before your freshman year of high school, and while you don't want summer to end, you're excited to begin high school and start a new journey. As I mentioned before when discussing sharp social scientists, STEM scholars, and humanities intellectuals, freshman year is where the college race truly begins. The actions you take your freshman year will compound and give you a much better chance of getting to the school of your dreams, or will make those dreams much harder to achieve. This year, generally speaking, for all students is about exploration. Except for the Professional Polymath, In their case, this exploration has to be purposeful. So unlike other students who have at least their freshman year and some of their sophomore year to explore and figure things out that they don't like as well as the things they do, a professional polymath needs to figure all this out by the end of their freshman year. This means that as a professional polymath, you should stay open-minded about the different classes you're taking, see which, if any, you find interesting. However, you need to make sure you have a wide selection of classes and clubs under your belt to build from moving forward in your high school career. For a professional polymath, the questions they need to answer aren't so much, do I find this interesting or not? But instead, it's, can I put in the necessary time and effort to excel in this class or club? Some important questions you'll want to answer during this time are: 1. Which fields do I find interesting enough to build on in my high school career? Can I diversify these fields? 2. Which sports will interest me enough into committing to them for a full season for a number of years in order to make a varsity position and qualify for a leadership role? Figuring these two things out at this point in your high school career will give you a massive leg up over the competition and place you in a phenomenal position to succeed later on. Now fast forward to the summer after your freshman year is over, and you're a little clear about what you want to do. You know that you don't like humanities as much as the social and natural sciences. You've decided to stick with soccer for the duration of your time in high school, and on top of that, you signed up for Science Olympiad, DECA, Chess Club, as well as History Bowl and Poetry Club. With all that down, you head into your sophomore year. Now you're a sophomore. You're not a newbie anymore. You're not quite a veteran of the school, but you know your way around and you're familiar with how the school works. You're friendly with some of the teachers in the school and have a much better idea of your place in this school environment. This year, however, things are getting even more serious. You figured out that you like math and science more than humanities and social sciences and decide to focus mostly on that. A benefit of being a professional polymath is that although your course load is more varied than most other students, you have lots of room and time to figure out exactly what you want and the particular combination of courses and extracurriculars that work for you. You can try your hand at a number of different STEM, humanities, and social science classes and clubs, figuring out what you want and what you don't want, so that you're in a much better position to have a much clearer idea of where you're going by the end of your junior year. As a professional polymath, there are 3 critical questions a student needs to ask and answer before the end of this year. 1. Are there any clubs or extracurriculars which I can attain a leadership position in by the end of my junior year? 2. What part of my resume, clubs, classes, and athletics should I dedicate more time to in order to have all of them be elite? And 3. Which AP classes would I be comfortable taking my junior year in addition to my other clubs and activities? Answering these 3 questions will set a student up for maximum success when they truly start the college application process. With the benefit of an increased chance of getting into college comes the downside of always having a completely packed schedule. As a professional polymath, one needs to go over and above to manage all parts of their high school career to put themselves in the best position to succeed. Now here's where things get interesting. While most students take their first SAT test in the spring of their junior year, and that's what we recommend they do, for professional polymath, we recommend that they start studying the summer after their sophomore year, with the expectation of taking their first one in the fall or winter of their junior year, with the second one being in the winter or spring of their junior year or the summer afterward. By getting their first SAT test out of the way earlier in their junior year, they have the opportunity to focus more on the critical parts of their college resume, their clubs and extracurriculars, as well as their core classes and GPA. And with this in mind, we enter junior year. Now, out of all years in their high school career, the junior year of a professional polymath's high school career is the most important. During this year, they have a number of questions to answer, things to complete, and places to go to before the start of their senior year. During this year, we advise that all students applying to schools of an elite caliber, like Princeton, take AP level classes in a number of different fields, if possible. For professional polymath, courses like AP Calculus, AB or BC, AP Statistics, AP Chemistry, AP Biology, AP United States History, AP European History, AP Literature and Composition, AP Language. All of these are academic coursework this type of student should take to show their versatility and multivariate skill set in their academic resume. And as mentioned before, students who are especially of this archetype need to focus heavily on securing leadership positions in the extracurriculars they're participating in. This leadership aspect, combined with the academic versatility and prowess, is what separates a professional polymath who makes it into a school like Princeton versus those who do not. Now let's fast forward to the spring of your junior year. At this point, you're rounding the corner headed towards the final destination, the winter of your senior year. During this time, a student should set themselves up early so that they're in a good position to be off to the races once they start their applications in the fall. Just like every other student type, this entails asking for recommendations from teachers you want early, usually in the spring of your junior year, touring the schools you're interested in that spring or summer before your senior year, and taking the SAT at least 2 times for the end of the summer before your senior year. And then finally, starting the process of writing the initial draft of your common application essays before the fall of your senior year. With all this in place, we can fast forward to the summer after your junior year where everything is taken into account. This summer is the most important summer for every single type of student, and this is no different for the professional polymath. Your goal for this summer is to finalize your application essays and do extensive research on the schools you're looking to apply to. By doing this, you'll be in a fantastic position to capitalize on the very thing that'll be key for you getting into Princeton: early admission. As mentioned before, I could do an entire video speaking on this point in a student's application alone. But what matters is that you've completed as much as possible of your application to these various schools, or at least set yourself up to do so before the autumn of your senior year. Now finally, we enter the fall of your senior year of high school. Here's where we can go into the nitty-gritty as it relates to a specific strategy when applying to Princeton as a professional polymath. Now it's finally the autumn of your senior year, the time when everything you did in the previous 3 years of high school come into play. Before this point, everything you did was simply set up to help put you in the position to get into Princeton. Now let's talk about how you'll actually get in. The first thing you'll want to do is apply early. Applying early is your best friend, and I cannot stress this enough. Students who apply early, especially those who are among the top level applications to a given school, get a tremendous boost in terms of their odds of making it to the school they want. Let me explain how. Looking online, the accepted early application acceptance rate for Princeton hovers right around 15%. Now, do you know what the regular application acceptance rate is? Less than 3%. For a professional polymath who applies early, these numbers can be as high as 40, 50, or even 60% in some cases. That's the benefit of applying early. These two wildly differing numbers is why a student who's interested in going to an Ivy League school needs to apply early to that school. They get a substantial increase in their odds of getting in because there are simply fewer people applying and thus fewer people to compete with, and more of a chance to wow an admission officer and claim those critical yes spots early. The next thing all professional polymaths should do if they want to be the 1 out of 5 professional polymaths who apply to Princeton and get in is focus on showing their achievement and showing how Princeton ties into their future goals. Professional polymaths rarely run into trouble when applying to college, but when they do, it's often here where they drop the ball. The problem with having a number of skills and talents is that it can sometimes open up too many doors, giving you a bevy of options to choose from. This is the problem professional polymaths face when applying to even select schools like Princeton. Schools like Princeton understand that professional polymaths are highly sought after students with a number of different offers from a number of different schools. When they're not sure where the student stands with the university and if they would actually accept the school if admitted, they may pre-reject the applicant to prevent that possibility. Princeton is looking for people who can grow with the university and contribute back to it in some way. They want to accept students who will be thrilled to go there, and a professional polymath who hasn't clearly shown that they are anything more than indifferent to the school will be rejected in favor of someone who may not have as good a resume but will be thrilled to go to the school. The way to combat this, using your supplemental essays, is to state in no uncertain terms why Princeton is especially important in helping you reach your career and life goals. This will help show the school that you value it and are likely going to fit right into the community if they accept you. The third and final thing a professional polymath should do to give themselves the best odds of getting to Princeton is to highlight their leadership ability and potential throughout their application. As I'm sure you've come to expect now, leadership and the ability to be a mentor to a group of people goes a long way on a college application. Princeton prides itself on being a school that cultivates the next generation of future leaders, and demonstrating leadership ability will definitely catch the eye of admissions at the school and help show them in no uncertain terms that you belong there. I could use an entire video breaking down this particular strategy even more, as there are a number of things a professional polymath could do to improve their application even further. If you'd like to see that, leave a comment below letting me know, and I'll be sure to make a video diving even deeper into this particular topic. But in broad terms, the 3 steps to getting to Princeton are as follows. Step 0. Set yourself up for success. This step is a step that gives you a fighting chance of even being considered in the first place by a university like Princeton and getting your foot in the door, so to speak. This means that a student needs to have taken and done fairly well on the SAT, taken a few, if not more, STEM, Humanities, and social science-based AP tests and scored well on them, and also participated in eye-catching clubs and extracurriculars and attained leadership positions in those that will make them stand out long before they ever start to apply to college. This step is the most important step and helps put a student in a good position for the following steps. Step 1. Apply early. This applies to all students who want to get into a particular school in the Ivy League. If you have a dream school in mind that you'd like to go to, make sure you apply early to that school. There are a number of benefits that come from applying early, but the main one is that your odds of getting into a school like Princeton, Harvard, Stanford, etc. can increase by 5, 6, or 7-fold by simply applying early. Every student should capitalize on this advantage by putting themselves in the position to apply early with a stellar application. Step 2. Focus on achievement and future goals. Princeton, like all elite schools, are looking for students who have the potential for a bright future. Showing your past achievement while also highlighting your desire to connect Princeton with that journey to your future goals is a fantastic way of telling the university that you're invested in them, which allows them to invest in you in turn. Step 3. Highlight your leadership ability. This is critical for a professional polymath's college application. It's what takes a good application and makes it incredible. The reason for this is because, as mentioned before, Princeton prides itself on being a school that cultivates the next generation of future leaders. Demonstrating leadership ability in a number of different parts of your life will definitely catch the eye of admissions officers at the school and help show them, in no uncertain terms, that you belong there. If you're a professional polymath, following those 3, 4 including step 0, will give you a substantial increase in your odds of getting into Princeton. While this video did go somewhat in-depth into this topic, I recommend taking a look at some of the helpful links in the description box below, as it contains helpful material that goes much deeper into this topic than I could do so here. If you'd like me to make a video diving deeper into this subject and the strategies for this type of student, just leave a comment below letting me know and I'll be sure to make one. Now, let's move on to the athletic academic.